and welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. I am Shanrae, and we are on week 4, part 2. Okay, I've been talking about Mr. Bean's his man versus bee disorder for the entire month. We are on part 2. This week we've been talking about hyperfocus disorder, ADD, ADHD, in romantic relationships and how that works. So before I get started, I want to go on and move towards my website disclaimer, and then we'll move along from there. But it's so good to have you all on this evening. This is an open platform. So if you have any questions or if it's a scenario that you would like to share, I will pause and I will highlight the question, try to answer it to the best of my ability. If I don't have the answer right then and there, I'll research it and get back to you in the comments as soon as possible. And if you have something that you don't mind sharing, I will highlight that as well. Let's start with my website disclaimer. Please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I'm using, that there can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in policies, that all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only and will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by me are subject to limitations of current and available material, but the final responsibility for successfully achieving a goal rests with you. Information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information does change frequently, and it is recommended that you consult another physician, another specialist, and or religious leader to aid you in your overall behavioral wellness. All right, so I am a degree counselor. I'm just going to skim over my bio. And I acquired a dual degree from Ashford University. My primary degree is in psychology. My secondary degree is in organizational management. My great passion is bringing healing to people who have been through traumatic or stressful experiences. And so when we experience this type of situations, it's not uncommon for us to feel like that our lives are just unraveling. I help clients who include children, adults, and families to find healthy perceptions of themselves and to strengthen their relationships so that they can know themselves as peaceful, complete, whole, and safe. All righty then. So let's get on in here. I'm a Christian counselor. Let me open my scripture that I've used for the month, and I'm actually going to use this scripture again for my final quarter in November. And I like this one. It's from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 23. The NIV version, and it says to be made new in the attitude of your mind. All right, so let's dive into our key points for tonight. Tonight is going to be, being a degree counselor doesn't mean that I know every single theory that's out there, because a lot of counselors, like I have my own theory that I've been working on since I've been degreed that will come out up under Shanrae's theory. And talk about this. And I've been having subjects for the last 12 years, actually. So learning about these theories, these long-term theories from other theorists is exciting to me. Tonight, we're going to be talking about weaponized incompetence. The first key point is why weaponized incompetence hurts your relationship. Who would have ever heard about weaponized incompetence, right? But this is a long-term theory. Good evening. Hi, Helen. How are you? So good to see you. Okay. Number 2 is, where did the term weaponized incompetence come from? Where did it come? So we're going to talk about the theorist who came up with the word weaponized incompetence. Number 3 is, why do people weaponize incompetence? Why do they even weaponize it? Number 4 is, but wait, can your partner actually just be incompetent? That's something to think about. Number 5 is, who is most likely to weaponize the incompetence in the family? Okay, number 6 is signs and examples of weaponized incompetence. Number 7 is how weaponized incompetence affects your relationship. And number 8 is how to address weaponized incompetence. Now, my research, I like to bring attention to maybe symptoms. People may have had symptoms or may have been around people with these symptoms, and they just didn't know a name to it. I like to bring awareness about about a lot of different diagnoses and symptoms, and then mostly and mainly bring the treatments that are available for these different diagnoses and symptoms. So this month again, who would have ever thought of, ever heard of hyperfocus disorder? But a lot of us have seen it in people. All right, so I'm going to move this on. This is again, this is where I got my inspiration to learn more about hyperfocus disorder, or to actually bring it back to my remembrance. And by watching this very, very comical movie by Mr. Bean on Netflix called Man versus Bee. He had like a super heightened hyperfocus disorder issue in this movie, and it was just so comical. If you get a chance, watch it. Go watch it for yourself. All right, so I want to start with a quote that I heard from this very, very, very awesome multimillionaire, Myron Golden. I follow his studies. He is a very, very accomplished man, self-made millionaire, and he's also a Christian believer. So Mr. Golden, he says that ADD or ADHD or hyperfocus disorder is really something that he calls ECA, extra creation ability. And I totally agree with him. A lot of people, and I highlighted last week about almost 20 different celebrities who have been diagnosed with either ADD, ADHD, hyperfocus, dyslexia, whatever. And these are all of these people that I highlighted. They have extra creative ability, a creation ability. And I just want to let you all know, a diagnosis is just that. It's just a diagnosis. When there's treatment, that's a blessing right there. If there's a treatment for whatever you're diagnosed with, run with it and implement it in your life so you can be the best version of yourself possible. So let's move along with tonight's part 2. Okay, so relationships, strengthening relationships. Why weaponized incompetence hurts relationships? And the question is your partner pretending to be bad at something to avoid tasks or to avoid being accountable? And those of us that's been married long-term or been in a relationship long-term or been around someone on long-term, and you kind of notice certain things, what you're noticing is called weaponized incompetence. Okay, and this theory is by Dr. Sanjana Gupta. And this theory has been medically reviewed by PhD Sabrina Romanoff. So it says, do you suspect your partner pretending to be bad at certain tasks to avoid doing them? Y'all know that's funny. Do you often step in and take over because they don't know how to do something, like wash the dishes right, do the laundry, something like that? Or do you try to avoid giving them certain tasks because they tend to do them badly? This could be the result of what Dr. Gupta calls weaponized incompetence. I'm gonna pause here. I saw something on social media. I was going on social media earlier this week to post, for this week, for week 4's, Counsel of the Day. And so a young lady who I went to church with years ago, she's now an adult and married. She posted about her husband. She said, I'm so grateful that he did the laundry and folded laundry up. So she showed a picture of him, of how he folded up the bed sheets. And she said, with her eye twitching, she said, I think it was so sweet of him to fold up the sheets and everything. And then her husband calls their son to go put everything away. Go put the sheets away. So she said the son came and got the bedding to put them up. She stopped him and said, bring the bedding right back here. She thanked her husband and refolded it the right way. And she said, all I can say is I appreciate what he did, his effort. And so, that was comical, but I get it. I get it. Sometimes it comes across as somebody is just doing just enough versus doing it. I mean, I know men will say, okay, you want to do it, you're doing it, you want me to do it the way you do it. But, it depends on your relationship, how things are going. I just wanted to talk about that. That was really comical to me when I saw that. So Dr. Gupta says weaponized incompetence is when an individual consciously or unconsciously demonstrates helplessness in order to avoid certain tasks or responsibilities, resulting in others stepping in and doing the task for them. And this is also by Dr. Claudia Dayano, okay, which is a licensed marriage and family therapist. So the three of them were all working together. So weaponizing competence can create an imbalance in the relationship because one partner is over functioning and the other is under functioning, says the Dr. Marriage Therapist, Dr. Yano. So in this article, we explore the origin, signs, causes, and impacts of weaponized incompetence on relationships, as well as some strategies that can help you address the issue with your partner. All right, where did the term weaponized incompetence come from? All right, where did it come from? So the term weaponized incompetence has been gaining popularity on social media platforms. You can look it up yourself, like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and where people have been sharing stories on how their partners use the strategies to avoid their responsibilities. So you can look it up on your own about examples of weaponized incompetence. However, variations of this term have been used in other contexts for many years. For example, a 1986 issue of Harvard Business Review magazine discusses skilled incompetence in the workplace, where people skillfully avoid conflicts only for it to eventually blow up and create larger organizational chaos than it would have if the conflict was addressed earlier. So best-selling author Jonathan Acuff also writes about strategic incompetence in the context of leadership and entrepreneurship, where he recommends strategically allowing yourself. Hi, CJ. How are you? I didn't see you there. Hi, CJ. This is my people that's on YouTube. So Jonathan Acuff also writes about strategic incompetence in the context of leadership and entrepreneurship, where he recommends strategically allowing yourself to be incompetent. Wow. And incompetent at unimportant chores, so you can devote your attention to more important tasks. I mean, if that's something that you can do, then do it. Okay, so why do people weaponize incompetence? Okay, and this is a very strong term here, weaponized incompetence. But why do people weaponize incompetence? They use it as a weapon. Okay, and here are some reasons why some people may do this. Number one, to shirk their responsibilities. Did I move this along? Okay, do I have to go back? Let me open this up because I want to make sure that y'all are following. Okay, I was moving too fast. That was me. Number one, people weaponize incompetence. Number one is to shirk their responsibilities. Practicing weaponized incompetence helps people shirk their responsibilities, such as household chores, child care duties, financial responsibilities, or even emotional labor. Number two, to avoid discomfort. They don't like to be discomforted. They don't like to be, uncomfortable. So weaponized incompetence can help someone avoid being the discomfort of having to deal with tasks that cause them to experience insecurity, doubt, or fear, says Yano, which is the marriage therapist. So offloading that task eases that person's anxiety around it, and their partner, who carries the weight, offers a false sense of protection, which that's a bad imbalance there. Number three, people weaponize incompetence is to seek attention. So some people use weaponized incompetence to seek attention from their partner by appearing helpless or incapable. They may elicit their partner's attention, their sympathy, or their support. Wow. Number four is to maintain control. So in a relationship where there's a severe imbalance of power, such as an abusive relationship, people may use weaponized incompetence to manipulate their partners and maintain control over them. All right. So this is some of the reasons why people weaponize incompetence. Okay, let's move this along. because Dr. Yano and Dr. Gupta, they all said, but wait, can your partner actually just be incompetent? Is that is it something that they may actually just be incompetent? So it is possible that your partner isn't faking and genuinely does not know how to do something. All right. So in some cases, an individual might truly feel that they are not sufficiently competent at a certain task, says Yano. They may express this, and their partner may in turn assume the task for them. This, however, reinforces the dynamics of incompetence versus competence. All right. So for instance, perhaps the person had a privileged childhood, and where they didn't have to help out with household chores, or perhaps they were overly spoiled by their parents or their caregivers, and they never learned how to take care of themselves. If the person continues to avoid the task in adulthood, the imbalance will continue, and they will never, ever, ever gain competence. All right. So let's move this along. I'm gonna pause right there, because there are some people who are just that privileged or that spoiled growing up, where they never had to do anything for themselves. So as they became an adult, if they couldn't afford to hire someone to do these things for them, and if they got with a partner or a spouse, then they now have become which is called a burden to the person who you're partnered with. And that, which is very unfair, as Dr. Gupta, as Dr. Yano is saying, the partnership, the relationship is extremely imbalanced due to things like that are common to most people, but may not be very common to that individual. Okay. I was watching, I watch the DBL, Daily Blast. I watch that. It comes on at 2:00, from 2 to 3 every day. And it's another form of the news. I was watching DBL about 3 months ago, maybe three to 6 months ago. And one of the hosts was just opened up and was very candid and very open about their lives. And it was a man. And he started sharing about how it took him to be 40 years old before he learned how to do anything for himself. He said this happened during COVID. He said when the world shut down, he was everybody was housebound because the world was still trying to figure out how to navigate through COVID. He said that because he had to face himself during COVID, he had to face his relationship issues during COVID. He wound up losing his wife and wound up losing a lot of things. The wife, they just broke up behind everything because he said he didn't know how to do basic things, like how to keep a bank account. He said he didn't know how to budget anything financially. He didn't know how to do anything for himself. He said he was a 40-year-old man. He said, and it took him to lose his wife and lose everything. He said during COVID, he had to learn how to become accountable, to become responsible, to become self-sufficient for real during COVID. He said, and it was a shock to his system. He said it took all of these years, all his life, he avoided these things. He has a great job because he's on the DBL, that the Daily Blast news every day. And he was, also he says he's a former comedian, or he's still a comedian. But he was so candid talking about how he had to rebuild his entire life over again because he finally was forced to face this issue here of him learning how to be competent, learning how to be responsible and accountable as an adult. He lost his wife, but he said it took those years during COVID for him to learn how to do these things. And now he can say, he said, now I can say I'm an adult, a responsible adult. But he said I lost a great deal by me waiting too long. He waited too long to own up to it. And I'm going to say this again. If you know someone who may be experiencing these issues, these type of incompetence. If you know someone, these weaponized incompetence, you can share this video with them. Encourage them. All we can do is encourage people. Encourage them to work on these strategies. Go get strategies to help them, so you can become more the person, 100% functioning person that you're desire, or you're supposed to be. I'm going to put it that way. So let's move on to who is most likely to weaponize incompetence in a relationship. Anyone can weaponize incompetence in a relationship. However, it says that men are more likely to engage in this behavior than women. Now, this is a long-term study. This is not my theory. This is a theory that's been out there for a number of years, and the research has proven this. So it says that men are more likely to engage in weaponized incompetence behavior. Research shows gender inequality, that it still prevails when it comes to household chores, child care duties, and with women shouldering the majority of the burden of responsibilities in the home. This can be especially difficult in relationships where the woman also works and has to bear a larger share of the household responsibilities, in addition to her professional responsibilities. So let's talk about the signs and examples of weaponized incompetence, okay? And I'm not talking about this to downgrade anybody. Everything that I come on and talk about, it's here to help whatever situation, and to bring strategies to help the person be the best version of themselves. I'm going to keep saying that. So now let's talk about the signs and examples of weaponized incompetence. Number one, Dr. Yano, she says that these are some of the things that people say. I have no idea how to do that. Can you do it? I'm really not good at that. You do it so much better than me. Oh, I've heard that. I've heard that a lot. This is your area of expertise. You're so great at it. I can do this, but I'm so slow at it that it's going to take forever. That's another thing that someone says. Remember how bad it was the last time I tried doing it? Okay, so these are some of the things that people who use weaponized incompetence, these are some of the things that they said. I'm going to give a quick example. Y'all know I'm an open book. So was it yesterday? Yesterday, my husband asked me, he said, what is this called? It was on his work pants. What is this called? I said, a belt buckle. You know, I'm doing something else. I'm looking at a belt buckle. Then he gonna say to me, oh, that's not it. That's not a belt buckle. So I looked at him and said, well, if you know it's not that, why didn't you look it up for yourself and find out what it is? So I'm looking, because I was somewhere else. I'm somewhere else. And I'm like, started by, what is that called again? A belt loop, where you loop your belt through on your pants. And I looked over and I was like, if I can look something up, your phone's sitting right there, you could have looked the same thing up instead of asking me something. Because I was reading something. I was in the middle of reading something, so my mind was somewhere else. I'm always reading things. I'm always trying to gain knowledge and different things. So, and this is something that's pertinent to my life. And so I'm reading and researching, and he caught me off guard. And then I looked, I'm like, hey, this is something you could have done yourself. That's that weaponized incompetence. And I just shook my head and laughed. I said, oh my gosh, something that you can do for yourself, do it yourself. Don't expect somebody else to do it for you or to think for you. Okay, so here are some examples of weaponized incompetence. Number one is making the bed. You ask your partner to make the bed, but you end up having to show them how to do it. Woo! Okay, now if you're young, very early 20s, and maybe the person didn't have to do it growing up, that's one thing. But not years and years into a relationship. That's a no-no. Number two, buying groceries. You send your partner to buy groceries and they forget half of the items on the list. Okay, but I know that they're going to be hungry at some point and need the food. Okay, all right. Number three, putting away the groceries. Your partner puts groceries away randomly without paying attention to where they're supposed to go. Okay. Number 4, cooking food. So your partner cooks a meal, but it's a box meal like macaroni and cheese that's not healthy or nutritious. Ooh. Number 5, dusting the house. You ask your partner to dust around the house, but they don't do a good job, a thorough job. So many surfaces are still dusty. I just told you, I gave y'all an example about the young lady who I used to go to church with her husband, but folding the bedding. That was so funny. Sweeping the floor is number 6. You ask your partner to sweep the floor, but they take forever to complete the task and then complain about it the whole time. Wow, that's something else. Okay, number 7, doing the dishes. Your partner puts off doing the dishes until you do them yourself. Oh, wow. Number 8, caring for your children. Okay, you ask your partner to change the baby's diaper, but they don't know where the supplies are kept. Oh, wow. Number 9, making cake. Your partner bakes a cake but leaves a giant mess in the kitchen that you have to deal with. Oh. Number 10, making decisions. And this is major right here, making decisions. Your partner avoids making major decisions by claiming that they don't understand the situation. Wow, that's major. That's major. That's a major imbalance in a relationship. Okay, so how weaponized incompetence, how does it affect the relationship? And let me open this up and make sure I'm on the right page. Okay. How does it affect the relationship? All right. So over time, effects of weaponized incompetence can erode a relationship. It can tear it down. It can damage it. It can destroy it. It can erode a relationship. Repeated instances of manipulation and avoidance can weaken the bond. It can weaken your bond with you and your partner, leading to increased frustration, dissatisfaction, and ultimately deterioration. So these are some of the ways that weaponized incompetence can negatively affect a relationship. Let me start with number 1, imbalance. You're going to keep hearing the same thing over and over again. There's an imbalance in the relationship. So weaponized incompetence creates an imbalance in a relationship where one partner shoulders the majority of the responsibility, says Dr. Yano, the marriage therapist. Number 2, resentment. An imbalance of responsibilities can lead to conflicting feelings about the relationship, says Dr. Yano. And while you may love your partner and you care about them, you may also grow frustrated and start to resent them for not helping out more. This is factual. Where am I at? I'm at 20. Okay. Number 3 is a lack of trust. Okay, so it can be hard to trust your partner when you cannot count on them for help and support in your daily life. You may feel like you have to do everything yourself if you want it done properly. That's a heavy weight there. Okay. Number 4, again, is conflict. So you and your partner may fight or argue due to the skewed distribution of responsibilities. Number 5, communication breakdown. You may hesitate to express your concerns or frustrations, fearing that your partner will use innocence and incompetence as a defense mechanism to deflect responsibility. This communication breakdown can further strain the relationship. I also talked about Tuesday how when someone has ADD, ADHD, hyperfocus, a disorder, they have these angry outbursts. That's a part of it too. Sometimes people won't communicate because they're afraid of an angry outburst that may occur with their partner. Number 6, emotional disconnection. So as you feel increasingly unsupported in a relationship, you may start to emotionally disconnect from your partner. All right. So we're getting ready to talk about how to address weaponized incompetence, how to do this. We talked about on Tuesday night, I mentioned about a diagnosis. A diagnosis, again, is just that. It's one thing if you're diagnosed with something. You know, we know people, we've heard of people who have had these terminal diagnoses. For instance, we've seen let me talk about some celebrities. Robin Williams. We right now we see Bruce Willis in the media, and we see how they have been diagnosed with some form of a disease. Well, what Bruce Willis is affecting him, he can't speak anymore. Then they found out that it has something to do with a certain type of brain disorder, and Alzheimer's and dementia and all of that. There's really no treatment or cure for this disorder or this, and so they just have to live it out. Like I said on Tuesday night, if you there's a disorder that you've been diagnosed with, and if there's a treatment out there for it, you do it. Do it. Run. If you can help yourself be the best that you can be, why would you not accept the treatment so you can function better on a better level? All right. I shared on Tuesday night, I've been diagnosed with a disorder, an autoimmune disorder back in 2017. They say that there's no cure for what I've been diagnosed with, but there's treatment, and I take the treatment. I use my treatment daily, because it would be unfair to me if I chose, as a person of faith, oh, I'm just going to believe God and trust God and he's going to heal me. Well, healing comes in different ways, and a lot of times healing comes through medicinal treatment. Okay. And I'm grateful for my medicinal treatment, because if not, I will become bedridden, hospitalized most of the time, can't do any, no energy, can't do anything for my family, I can't do anything for myself. That would be unfair to my husband. That would be unfair to my grown children, to the friends, my family and friends. It would be unfair to, and if I made the choice to just, okay, I'm just going to believe God, and do something like that, and then the disorder continue to get worse and worse and worse and worse. I chose, for the betterment of myself first, and then for everyone that's attached to me, to take the medicinal treatment so I can function as close to 100% as possible. And so this is why I highlight different things and then give the options of treatment, because if there is not a desolate situation, if there's help out there, don't be afraid to take it. Step out on faith and get the treatment so you can function 100%. Now let's talk about how to address weaponized incompetence. All right. There are some steps that we can take to address weaponized incompetence in relationships. Okay. With the people that's closest to you. The larger challenge. Okay. No, let me go back. Okay. I'll move this along. Number one, recognize the patterns. Recognize your patterns. Start recognizing the pattern in your relationship. Pay attention to your partner's words and behaviors, as well as your reactions to them. Number two, discuss the issues if you can. Dr. Dayamo recommends having an open and honest discussion with your partner. Focus on explaining how their behavior makes you feel and how they can help meet your needs. For instance, you could say, I feel like I can't count on you for any assistance around the house, or I need your help and support in this area. Number three, listen actively. Give your partner an opportunity to explain their perspective. Okay. Practice active listening and allow them to express their thoughts and feelings. Try to understand the underlying reason behind their behavior, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. All right. Number four is establish boundaries and expectations. I saw a post again. I see posts when I'm posting myself. It was earlier this week. I was posting my counsel of the day, and it was Tuesday. And someone posed the question. They asked the question on Twitter: what is the greatest disappointment in a relationship? Someone came right up under and said expectations. And I said, oh my, wow. That when I say that is true. One of the greatest disappointments in any relationship is expectations. Okay. When you come into a relationship, when you first get with somebody, that we can do no wrong. We can do absolutely no wrong. You're so gaga in love with each other, and you overlook like a lot of major stuff because you're so head over heels in love. Then as time moves on and you get married and when you start living together and everything like that, then you start noticing, you start realizing, whoa, okay, this is not right. Okay, then when you start realizing, oh, the person that you're so gaga in love with, they're actually a human and they realize you're human too, and all of this stuff. Then when you start seeing some things and there's behaviors and you're starting to clash in different areas and different things like that, then you start saying, okay, we're gonna have to figure this out. Okay, and you start expressing yourself, and it's not the down that is not the downfall of a relationship. What my saying with this is that that's the awakening of any relationship. When everybody you get out of that gaga, oh, I love you phase, everything, nothing can go wrong, that phase with the person that you're love. And now the awakening phase is here. And so when you start looking at each other and you're starting to see, how can we gel better together? How can we live better together and live balanced? We can still love each other and still rely on each other. And how can we stay unified together, which is very important. And then when you start realizing, like I said on Tuesday, what I call him Dr. Golden, but what Myron Golden says, that most relationships break up, that most people get divorced when one person or both just stop appreciating, just stop caring, just stop. The word was appreciating the other person. When you just start taking advantage of a person, that is the breakdown of any relationship. Okay, so again, and what happens is the expectations. Of course, people go into any relationship with certain expectations. Okay, I know when I married my spouse, my expectation was that there's nothing we can't do together. I don't expect my spouse to betray me, and he doesn't expect me to betray him. Those are made, but when those expectations and different things start failing, that is the beginning of the breakdown of a relationship. So establish boundaries and expectations. Clearly define and communicate your boundaries and expectations within a relationship. That's why marriage counseling is imperative. Do it if you're going to marry. Do it before you marry. Okay, and then there's marriage counseling while you're married. It's important. You keep that therapy going. All right. Discuss what you consider to be fair and equitable in terms of responsibilities. Try to arrive at a shared understanding of what is expected from each of you by the end of the discussion. Number 5 is assess progress. So check in with each other regularly on the progress that has been made toward a more equal balance of responsibilities. Discuss what is working, what isn't, and what can be changed or improved. Number 6, it says seek professional help. I strongly agree with this. Seek professional help. If the issue persists or communication becomes more challenging, consider seeking the help of a couples therapist. A professional can provide an objective point of view. All right. Facilitate productive conversations. They can address deeper issues and help resolve conflicts if you both will work it. Okay. So let me move to the recap. And the recap is a strong recap, but it's necessary. It says the larger challenge for the person in the relationship who does not have the diagnosis of ADD, ADHD, hyperfocus, whatever you're diagnosed with, spouse, is when their partner has never received an evaluation or never received treatment. And if that partner is prejudiced or they're just totally against psychiatry or has had no exposure to psychiatry for their diagnosis, and they're reluctant, they just refuse to get help, or they're afraid of just being labeled or afraid of having to take medication. That's a challenge in any relationship. And this that was by the recap was by Dr. Goodman, who I used his theory on Tuesday night. Now let me move this along. Ada. I love this community, support community, ADDA plus community. If you know someone, or if it's you yourself that may have a diagnosis of ADD, ADHD, hyperfocus, dyslexia, OCD, there is a community, ADDA plus, Ada community plus community of support groups where y'all can come together. You can join it and just support each other, learn more about different things, support each other, get the strategies, different things like that. Ada plus community. So happy about that. Okay, let me move this on to the takeaway. The takeaway for tonight says, all right, it's coping strategies. So happy relationships rely heavily on personality compatibility. But irritating habits, interests, and behaviors of your partner can ultimately cause friction. And if ignored for too long, resentment will strengthen and one day make you explode. Weaponized incompetence can create an imbalance in a relationship because one partner is overfunctioning and the other one is underfunctioning, says Dr. Yano again. The good news is that with open and honest communication, there is hope for your situation. I'm going to move to my quote, and then I'm going to say one last thing. The quote says, detachment doesn't mean not caring. It's taking care of yourself first and letting others take responsibility for their own actions without trying to save or trying to punish them. And this is by the whoever did this quote is unknown. Now, I want to piggyback off of this here again. Detachment doesn't mean not caring. I am a half glass full type of person. I say it all the time. I believe that anything, we can overcome anything. I will stand on that. But what I'm going to say here is very serious. If you are attached to someone who refuses, if they have a diagnosis like this and they're causing major issues in your family and in your household and in your relationship, and they refuse to go get treatment, they refuse to go get treatment for the debilitating issue, then I am going to suggest strongly detachment. If this has been a long-term type of lifestyle, living with someone 10 years, 5 years is almost too long, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, you go, it's really, you have to start asking yourself, has it been worth it? You can love someone, but you can't, but that love for someone can destroy you. So I do highly suggest detachment. If you are attached to someone where there is help and there's treatment for them and they refuse to get the treatment, and your life is still is totally imbalanced, and there's consequences that you're the one who's constantly are the one who have to fix it and stuff. If you're okay with that lifestyle, then that's fine. But for if it's starting to tear you down, I strongly suggest detachment. Okay, detachment does not mean not caring. It just means that it's taking care of yourself first and letting the other person take responsibility for their own actions without trying to save them or trying to punish them. Okay, so it's very rarely do you ever hear me say this, but because this is a very severe, anything severe like this, when it causes high consequences, I do strongly suggest detachment. And I may go into some things one day. I may be very candid and go into some things one day concerning me and my my experience with different things, because I'm a counselor. I'm a degree counselor, but I'm not exempt from life situations. Okay. Oh, and I wanted to leave y'all with this. Let me move on really quick, and I want to leave you all with this. I got such a great report last night. Okay, let's talk about learning a Rex. Okay, learning a Rex. I love learning a Rex, and I'm going to skim over some of this. It says, learning a Rex. Thousands of adults, clients have strengthened their skills with Learning RX. Between 2010 and 2021, more than 2,622 adults graduated from Learning RX programs. The average, and what Learning RX offers is information, brain training focuses on strengthening their cognitive skills, brain training. They target skills like concentration, memory, and processing speed to become a stronger, more confident thinker. I stand on Learning RX. I know that it works. And it's not just people with ADD, ADHD, hyperfocus. It's doctors, lawyers, politicians, judges. They go to Learning RX to strengthen their thought process so they can stay mentally sharp. Learning RX. I'm not getting anything for advertising Learning RX, but I'm telling you what I know. I stand by Learning RX. That is one of the best brain training programs that you can invest in to help yourself. All right, BetterHelp. And I wanted to end with this, BetterHelp, www.betterhelp.com. If you want a safe space to speak with a licensed professional online, BetterHelp offers affordable counseling sessions for individuals, couples, and families. www.betterhelp.com. And then I'm going to move this on. Let me get this out of the way. 988. Okay, this is a crisis helpline. If you're feeling like you're struggling, if you know someone that's struggling and they may be talking about suicide, 988, you can text them, chat with them, call them, go online, and it's a 24/7 helpline where there's counselors available for someone. If you can talk with them in a safe space, 988 is the suicide helpline. Okay. All right. So before I go, I wanted to give what I call a praise report. This is my website reference page for my fellow counselors. That's where I got my theories from. I wanted to give a praise report. So one of my grown folk called me late, early wee hours this morning. That's the time they get off work. And was saying, they called me Mama. They said, Mama, she said, Mama, this is my baby, my daughter. Mama, I'm just so excited about how you taught me. And so she's up in her upper 20s. She said, I'm so grateful how you taught me. She said, I was diagnosed with whatever. She said that ADD. And she said, Mama, she said, I practice everything you taught me as a child. I write everything down so I don't give myself a permission to forget. She said, it helps me in my job. It helps me at home. She said, I accomplish she said, I do my list. She makes a list, her to-do list. And she said, and she does it on her phone. And after I do my task, I delete everything to let me know that that's been accomplished. And she said, I follow my list. I check it off, like you said. She said, I'm able to accomplish everything. She said, I'm so excited, Mama. She said, my house is clean. She said, my house, I don't have to worry about my house being disorganized. She said, on my job, everything. She said, I'm able to function, don't forget anything. She said, and work. She said, work through everything on my job by keeping my list. And she said, I'm just so grateful that I had a mama that showed me how to work through this thing, how to work through. She said, she said, I don't even think I have the issue anymore. And I said, you don't. I said, because you've used the strategies and it's worked. And I said, so she said, I don't have any memory issues anymore. She said, I'm not disorganized. She said, I get everything done. She said, I'm constantly, and she said, I'm about to enlist in a new certified class so I can get certified in something else so she can move up higher on her job. Guys, that just made my heart so glad to hear. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Wanda. That made my heart so glad when my baby called me out of the blue, the wee hours this morning when she was getting off of work, and she just started talking about that. Guys, I don't just teach this. I'm telling you, I practice what I teach, and it works. It'll work. It works if you work it. You can be the best person, the best version of yourself if you choose to incorporate the strategies that will counteract whatever diagnosis you may have. It will work, and you can be 100% the person that you desire to be. So I wanted to share that with you all. I know I'm so over time. I've been over time the last 2 weeks, guys. Let me end with this. Oh Lord, Also, okay, if there's a past counsel of the day with Shanrae that you've missed or you just want to rewatch, go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Okay, and then hit the bell, subscribe, and then choose any past series that you want to watch. Okay, I'm also, let me move this along. I'm a professional one-on-one counselor. Yeah, no, I'm a degree counselor. If you're interested in professional one-on-one counseling services, feel free to contact me via my Facebook Messenger at Shanrae Owens, and I will get back to you. Or you can do old school and email me at shanrae.price@gmail.com. I'm a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in your life's goals and your life's dreams. Guys, listen, I do emergency sessions. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. I can go up to 2 hours. If we don't have to do no long-term contracts. I do emergency sessions. So if there's something that you just need to work through or strategize through, hit me up in my messenger at Shanrae Owens, or you can contact me through my email. I check in regularly, and then we can go on and start the session. Now, like I said, I don't do anything less than 15 minutes because it's very rare you can work through something in 15 minutes, but we can make it work though, if needed. And I normally don't do this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I do $2 an hour. So I do as cheap as $2 an hour. $2 a minute. Let me go back. $2 a minute. But it cannot be any less than 15 minutes. So y'all figure the rest out. But I do emergency strategies. If you wanted to contact me, I gave you the way to contact me. And if you just need to work through something, you don't have to worry about a long-term contract or anything, contact me. All right. Because my aim is to aid you in your lifestyles and your life's goals and your life's dreams. This has been Counsel Today with Shanrae. I will see you for our final week next week, week 5, Tuesday and Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a beautiful weekend. See y'all next week. Different subtopic. All right. This has been Shanrae, Counsel Today with Shanrae. Good night, guys. Counsel of the Day with Shanrae.